Forgive me, Lord, I woke up in that.
Yo, it's B Class with the classic codes. I'm back with another code language, man. And today I'm going to be talking about how to use isolation as a life hack. Of course, y'all know how we coming on the codes, man. I'm not finna go through a whole list of credentials and all of that stuff to qualify what I'm saying. What I'm going to use is my life. I'm going to use real life. And we're going to discuss things and we're going to peel back the layers, discuss the nuances of things, and we're going to crack these codes, ultimately driving all of us to get in better places with ourselves and with our reality. Before y'all do anything, make sure y'all subscribe and make sure you like this video as we go along. Drop a comment, whether you agree or disagree with something I'm saying, relate, identify, whatever it is. Let's have a conversation. We got to crack these codes. But again, today we're speaking on isolation and how isolation could be a life hack. I'm going to start by telling y'all the first time I was ever forced into isolation. And then we'll get into what it did for me and how I learned and how we came to this conclusion right here, where we discussing this matter. The first time I was forced into isolation, I was in my early adulthood, very, very early adulthood, transitioning out of high school, early years of college type situation. And I remember being in a window of time where at my level of maturity, it seemed like the whole world was coming down. Like the whole world was the weight of the world was on my shoulders and I couldn't bear it. It felt like everything was crumbling, right? Again, at my level of maturity, I didn't have the level of perspective I have now, but it's how you get there. That's how you get here, right? So I was in a serious relationship, or what was serious to me at that time. Also, I come from a real strong family as well. So, at that time, to my knowledge, everything was good with my family. Everything was going well. It was good. What else? Grades was cool. Was working a job, had income, life flowing smoothly. Abruptly though, small things start going wrong, right? You're a young, early college student having car trouble, serious car trouble at that, could really hinder some things you got going on, especially with the way I was navigating, because I had a job like 25 minutes away from the university. I was staying on campus and all that, right? So I had a job like 25 minutes away. I was also an athlete, so I was juggling school, work, athletics at the college level. And then I also had a serious relationship, right? So it was a situation where first I started having car trouble. Car trouble started interfering with my ability, not only with my income that I had to spend, but my ability to get to and fro to work to make money, right? I was working at the mall or whatever. And then on top of that, things weren't going the way as planned, or things weren't going the way I planned for them to go when it come to basketball, just hooping and whatnot, politics with the coaches, different things. Just things weren't going the way I thought they should, that I thought at that time that they should go. I will admit I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder being at the university I was at. Who shall remain nameless is not important. But being at the school I was at, I wasn't even supposed to be there. I was better than that, so to speak. But that's not what this video is about, right? So I did have a chip on my shoulder. So that situation wasn't really going the way that it should have gone, in my opinion, even to this day. So athletics wasn't going right. Some issues with my income because of the car trouble, different things like that wasn't necessarily going right. Started having relationship trouble, right? I was going to get ready to actually propose to the chick I was dealing with around this time. Now, backstory, my parents was high school sweethearts. They got married at like 2021, right? My grandparents, both sides, my mother's side and my father's side, they got married young as well. My brother, my older brother, he got married at like 21. So I'm sticking with the script. I'm sticking to the codes, right? We are a product of our examples. As marriage all around me. My godparents still married to this day. Marriage all around me. So I'm sticking to the codes, right? So I'm pretty serious and locked in with the woman I'm dealing with at this time. Of course, we both got a lot of growing to do. We young, but I'm locked in though. So I'm marriage minded for sure at this point in time, and that's where my mind was going. Start having some relationship issues, right? And then from there, my grandfather got real sick, you know. And so going back to that time frame with the way work was going, then school was going with the hooping, then my relationship was going, and then my grandfather got sick, you know. So it was a lot happening, and this was all happening in a very small window of time. Like, we talking about in a matter of just like months, like everything happening together at one time. So at that time, I'm young, so it's feeling like everything that I give a damn about for real. Sports, my old girl, you know what I'm saying? My whip too. My whip was my baby too. I don't know if anybody here got attachment to cars, but at that time, my whip was my baby. I had a Grand Am coupe, 2 TVs in that joint, subwoofers in the back, the glowing neon lights on the ends. I really was riding like that. I was really, you feel me? So when my baby started tweaking on me and it was starting to get overly expensive to keep her up on the road, that was tough. You know, now I probably wouldn't tweak the same way. A car is a car to me. But back then, you couldn't tell me shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. So it really did feel like everything that I just gave a damn about, you know what I mean, was going south. I had a dog, you know, then my dog died. My grandfather ended up dying. The relationship ended. Had to trade my car in. Had to start driving a beater, and I transferred schools. So it was a crash. I slipped into a super deep depression after all that shit happened, right? So when that happened, that's when I was forced into isolation. So that's the backstory of my first time being forced into isolation. Now, if I'm in isolation, it's probably by choice because I'm going to go get something I need. And that's how I'm gonna tell y'all now how to weaponize it. But I was forced into isolation. I really didn't want to be around nobody. I wasn't eating, you know. I moved back home with my parents. It was a lot, you know what I mean? And at that point in time, I was just really alone. You know, I wasn't really being myself. So I pushed a lot of people away for sure. And some of those people should have stayed away. They came back for nothing. But I pushed a lot of people away who probably should have stayed away, because when you at your lowest, that's when you find out the real about people anyway, right? So during that time, I just learned the truth about a lot of things around me, learned the truth about a lot of people around me, and I learned the truth about human nature in general. I think up until that point, I was very naive about a lot of things as in regards to relationships, not just romantic relationships, but even friendships as well. I think I was naive to a lot of things about human nature and the capacity people have to be deceitful, evil, envious, jealous, etc. I'm not playing the victim. I'm just saying I had to have my eye-opening moments, and that's what I'm sharing with y'all, right? So when I became isolated, it was this weird thing where you go from feeling lonely to feeling like being alone is at home. It's almost like it's a gift and a curse, because you become comfortable being by yourself. You start feeling fulfilled being by yourself. You start getting used to moving at the beat of your own drum. You start getting used to your phone not ringing and not making outgoing calls. You start developing a routine. You start developing habits. And I don't know, you start fortifying. You really start fortifying. I think my mind, once I went deep into that dark like depression, and it was almost like clarity down there in that cave. It was dark, right? It was almost like clarity down there, because you start embracing everything for what it is. And a lot of put it like this, because I'm my mind work a certain way, and I want to say this to where it's easy to digest. Put it like this: if y'all ever had a friend that y'all fell out with, or the relationship adjusted and the trajectory of the relationship was more downward than it was upward, or the relationship didn't seem to have sustainability, when that relationship, goes away or diminishes in whatever way it does, a lot of times you can look back and see like, damn, folks did used to be sneak dissing on me, or damn, they did used to say a lot of jealous and envious stuff, or damn, motherfucker never did respect me like that, right? Like you start to have realizations when you down there in the dark, and you not trying to see the best in people because you got love for them. You overlook a lot when you trying to see the best in people. And I think isolation is eye-opening. It's very enlightening. And I had this thing where I always say, when you pray for strength, you praying for pain. Only way to get strong is to go through shit. So you gotta be careful with that, right? Some people be praying for the strength to do this and the strength to do that and the strength. All right, it's a storm coming, right? Because that's the only way you're gonna get fortified. It's the only way you're gonna build up. So I think what I could say is, for people that go through the isolation phases, here's the steps to weaponizing it and using it as a life hack. First off, don't fight the feeling. When you feel like you need to go in that cave and it feels like it's necessary, just go dark. Put that phone on D&D. Go dark. Get all of the emotions that you feeling that have you feeling like you want to be away from everything. Get that out, whatever that means to you. Whether that mean crying, whether that mean spending a couple dollars and going to one of them smash rooms where you just break shit for about an hour, or whatever the case may be. Whether that mean hitting the gym and doing a crash out workout, whatever that look like. Deal with the emotions. Feel them. Deal with them. That's step one. Right? Don't fight the isolation. Feel the emotions. Step two. When you're done with that, don't come out of isolation too soon, because now that you've made everything quiet, right? People have stopped calling because you've stopped answering for so long, or whatever the case may be. And the people that keep calling, even though you stop answering, them the ones that's supposed to stick around, right? They gonna call anyway. I'm a call until the day you pick up. I'm a call. They stick around. But now that you've made everything quiet, use the quiet time. Breathe. Do some breathing exercises if you never have. Meditate. Try meditation, some form of it. 3 to 5 minutes a day. It's going to give you clarity. Once you clear your mind, you can move into step 3. Devise a plan. Whatever it is that you're trying to get accomplished, whether it means that you don't feel like you know your purpose and you need to find your purpose, you can take steps to get into what your purpose is. That means you can start with introspection, for example, right? What am I naturally good at? What have I always kind of gravitated towards? What are some things that I did naturally as a little kid, in class that, my other classmates were good at this, but I was really good at You can find your purpose. It's always been there. You just have to locate it. But sometimes we get in the habit of moving so fast that we don't even collect ourselves. And that's what isolation allows you to do. I think that once you go into that place, you flush out the emotions, and then you start to meditate, breathe, and formulate a plan. That's when you start understanding that, man, this isolation shit, I can kind of use this from time to time. Just like fasting, for example. Just like fasting. It's a weapon. Use it from time to time. Sometimes you got to go 0 dark 30, and then when you come back, you brand new, you refreshed. So don't be afraid to isolate. I think when I was forced into isolation, and when I finally came back outside, and I came back to life, and I came back, around, I saw things a lot more differently. And I think that's when I became one of those people who was getting hit with the who hurt you. I was getting hit with that a lot, because a lot of the harsh truths that people around me hadn't been forced to deal with, I was forced to deal with right then on the spot. So I was kind of ahead of the people around me when it come to understanding the nature of the beast of the modern woman. I was ahead of y'all in that, And I had to learn from experience, not from the experiences of others. So when I was being honest about shit, you could pour your all into one of these chicks and they'll play you. It was always who hurt you. But now y'all see, fast forward all these years, now y'all see this shit real, right? So it ain't really a who hurt you situation. It's more so about a shit. Nah, I just firsthand seen this shit, you know? Even the concept of dealing with death and stuff like that, or nutrition and things like that, and black obesity, all that shit. Like, I talk about that stuff bluntly. I talk about it forwardly. I talk about it with passion in my heart, because I seen so many people eat themselves straight into a hole, premature. Or I seen so many people eat themselves into low self-esteem. Imagine going your whole adulthood not feeling confident in a swimsuit, and that shit is in your control. When you isolate, these are the things that you deal with. Ain't nobody around to judge you. It's just you. You end up judging yourself. You end up looking at yourself. Introspection is what you get when you isolate. When you constantly talking to somebody on the phone, when you constantly texting somebody, when you constantly stimulated, you don't really take no time to really look in the mirror for real. You just get the feeling like you know how you is. Go isolate. Go dark for 2 weeks. You'll get to know yourself better than you ever have. Facts. But I'm off this one, man. I know that this is gonna be helpful to somebody, and that's the reason why we make it. If it helped one person, for sure. But make sure y'all understand, everything is not negative. You may isolate and you'll have people around you like, oh, well, we here for you. That's cool, but I don't really need you right now. I need me right now, right? The people will be resistant to your process. Don't let them be. Just lock in, do what you need to do. And then when you come back out, you're going to be a better you. And remember, the people who never stop ringing that phone, even though they know what you on, them the ones that's supposed to be in there for the long run. You know what I mean? Everybody else, you know, do your evaluation. But if you don't do nothing else, man, make sure you do one thing for me. Stick to the codes.
Forgive me, Lord, I woke up in that.